second pet.
My first time petting an animal. I think it went pretty well.
Last year, a trailer for an indie video game premiered and it caught my attention. In a traffic of trailers that ebbed and flowed through my social media awareness, Season, A Letter to the Future stood out from the rest. It oozed with the kind of vibe that drew me in with its stillness. Its colors rich with earth tones, painting scenes of far-off places begging to be visited. I thought to myself, that looks like a game me and my girlfriend would like. Just over a year later, Season, A Letter to the Future has officially released, and I got a chance to dive into the world Scavenger Studios spent years crafting. By the way, thank you to Scavenger Studios and Evolve PR for the review key. When I received the review code for this game, I was ready to write about all the things I usually look for in a review. How are the graphics, the gameplay, the loop, yada yada. But upon playing, none of my notes are about that. The typical talking points aren't as important here. Instead, I want to talk about if the developers did what they set out to do. Season's writer and creative director, Kevin Sullivan, shared a note saying, quote, "We're dizzily excited to share the world of Season with the real world. Just as the character in the game makes a cultural collection, the game itself has been that for us. It has absorbed our worries about the state of the planet, our joy at living on it, things we've seen, people we've loved and lost, all tied together into something, hopefully beautiful and strange." Let's talk about it. The game thrusts you into a world that you're invited to explore, document, and record. You won't find any QuickTime events, flashy cutscenes, or even a villain bearing down on you. Instead, you've got a bike, a camera, audio recorder, dialogue choices, and a pendant full of memories entrusted to you by a family member. You quickly, or slowly, make your way through the town in the early mornings, learning through context what is happening with this world. You manage all of this information with the scrapbook you carry around. Through interactions with the environment and the aforementioned camera and recorder, you learn that this season is ending. Typically, this type of world-shattering event fuels a sense of urgency. But in Seasons, I found myself lingering in each region far longer than I thought I would have. I also couldn't help but feel like I was moving through an art piece that used swatches from Zelda Breath of the Wild mixed with Simon Stålenhag's book The Electric State. By the way, I highly recommend. You should check it out. In my time playing, I realized that a lot of things I enjoy doing in my personal life, like bicycling, photography, and ruminating on philosophy, and the poetry of the world, are all beautifully infused and present in this game. It wasn't until I watched my partner's playthrough that it became apparent how thoughtful the developers were when creating the environments. Points of interest were peppered in with subtle but eye-drawing elements that neither of us could help but navigate towards. And to my delight, it reminded me of going on hikes, urban or otherwise, where something in the distance tugs enough at my curiosity that before I know it, I'm standing before the thing that drew me close. But it's not just the environments that piqued my interest. Throughout the game, you encounter a small host of characters that enrich your understanding of the world. Each one of them is beautifully written and voice acted. Much like in real life, you tend to notice the strange things about these people first, but as you listen to them and try to understand the circumstances that shape them, you come to appreciate these quirks and behaviors. One such character whom you meet a couple of hours in shares with you where they were born, and it really sparked my imagination. I couldn't help but wonder if this time period existed in a parallel timeline or perhaps many centuries removed from our own. It all might seem like a lot to take in given that you're thrust into a world that feels both alien and familiar, spinning intervals between each other like bicycle spokes. But don't worry, it all gets recorded in your journal, which acts like a scrapbook, occasionally updating as you pedal along from region to region. As someone who enjoys doodling and filling blank pages with shapes, art, ideas, and images of interest, the journaling portion was a place of comfort where I could design with non-destructive tools. And while options on how to place keepsakes, think sketches, stamps, dried flowers, notes, and quotes, are limited, ultimately, I felt satisfied with what I made and looked forward to filling more pages. What's exciting to me is knowing that no two players will have their journals alike, that players from all around the world will bring in their own aesthetic and sentiments to their journal pages. And in case you were wondering, yes, you are actually able to collect the photos you've taken in-game long after you're done playing. and I'll leave how to do that in the description below. With any adventure, it's likely you'll run into a few hitches, and in Season, I couldn't help but note a couple of moments that were annoying, but thankfully not game-breaking. Occasionally, while on the bike, Estelle would get stuck in terrain requiring me to dismount and reorient. Thankfully, the game balances nuisances like this with really neat features like the ability to summon your bike to you if somehow you lost track where you parked it. There'd also be times when I'd rather use a different picture in selected portions of the journal and had no ability to replace what the game originally accepted. Other times I'd enter a room only to go back the other way because I was holding down a specific direction and the inputs had reversed when the camera flipped. Minor annoyances like these crop up, but I find them easy to forgive given how delightful the rest of the game is. So how close did Kevin Sullivan's message hit the mark? I feel beautiful and strange marry so well together in this story that the efforts of everyone involved, from the art direction to the sound design, which I would like to highlight, does a splendid job carrying your interest and energy throughout, serving as another meal for the senses. But I digress. Season unravels a wonderfully woven collection of themes on memory, legacy, love, loss, and longing that feel both personal and universal in equal measure. And while the game can be completed in about 6 hours, you're invited to pedal longer through the fields of green and gold, or attune yourself with the frequency of the lake and distant cicadas in chorus, or immerse yourself for hours organizing your journal in ways that bring you joy. In a world where mindfulness exercises feel too much like a chore, it's nice to find a game that is mindful not to impede in your life, but add to it a different kind of richness. More bike games, please.